Steve. That brings us to the question and answer period. And I think Stan is going to kick it off with the first question.
I'd like, is that on? Okay. Yes. I'd like to remind everybody that this is a forum that is addressing business and economic issues, and those specifically. The first question. First question is somewhat a long question, multifaceted. What does the concept of business friendliness mean to you? The Chamber has made this issue a part of our candidate forum since 2010. Do you see a clear example of the county becoming more business friendly since 2010? And also, are there any business friendliness initiatives that you would champion?
I want to remind the candidates that all the responses are 2 minutes, and Vincent, you lead off.
For me, business friendliness means having a positive experience with the county when you're a small business and you're trying to get something done. Having the county be your ally instead of being an obstacle. And I feel within the last year, we have made progress in making our community more business friendly. And the one example that I would cite would be the changes that we've made in our process for applying for a commercial site plan and for a commercial building permit. With regard to the commercial site plan, the county has changed the application from going from 19 pages down to 9 pages. That's the kind of simplification that we need. In addition, the county has instituted a pre-application meeting where members of the county staff will meet with the interested party and they will go over the process, provide the necessary forms, explain what needs to be done. And this type of pre-application meeting, I think, is essential in order to work out the issues and make sure there's an understanding before the process begins of what's required. Although this is very good progress, and I'm a strong supporter of it, there's more work to be done. We have been able to reduce the time for the average commercial building permit issuance from 30 days down to 21 days. And I feel we need to go further so that when people want to expand their business, they know that it's not going to be a multi-week or multi-month process. We have to make sure the businesses know what to expect up front. And we have to make the process as simple as possible for businesses to apply for these kind of permits. So we've made progress, but there's more work to do, and I'm confident that we can get it done.
Thank you, Vince. Mark?
I can tell you what business friendliness is not, to start with. Who knows who the 50th ranked state is in the United States for business friendliness? New Mexico. There's a couple of reasons for that, and what goes for New Mexico happens to go for Los Alamos at some level too. GRT is a problem for a lot of people. Also, litigation is a problem. This is a very litigious state, and it's easy to sue, and so companies are shy away from those kind of things. Those are two big things that happen in this state that really cause problems. Los Alamos happens to have a problem with GRT too. We have to pay GRT as well. But there are other things that we can do as a state and as a local community that we can really help in these areas. The county can provide tax incentives to offset some of those GRT revenue problems. They can offer incentives for utilities to try to reduce costs. They can try to build partnerships, which we'll talk about later, with private organizations to try to find ways to try to move us forward to try to provide small business in this community. Business friendly can also mean that you have a workforce that is readily available to try to work in whatever that you've done. Los Alamos isn't great at that, except for Los Alamos Laboratory. So, for example, if we wanted to have something, there was some program at UNMLA that we wanted to train people to then be able to put into high-tech business in town here. Those are things that we can do as a county. We can be an engine that we can create those opportunities. We can't stop the state regulations, but we can offset those things and try to attract people to come here. So that's what I'll be about, as we try to be more business friendly.
Thank you, Mark. Steve, you're up next.
I think we've been making some progress in the last year and a half in becoming more business friendly, and a lot of the reason for that is a stable leadership team in county administration, and also we're backfilling some of the positions. We do have an economic vitality director now, and that helps. Leadership in this area comes down from the top. I think it's been a priority of the council, but more than that, it's been a priority of the county administrator leadership team. And a classic example of that, practicing what you preach, is when Harry took Denise Lane's license over to her, walked it over to her and said, here it is for you to sign. If you get this signed, we can move this quicker down the next process. So I think that's kind of reaching out and really making a change. The other thing that got me about this question is, you guys are asking us what's changed in 2 years. Well, I found a couple of cool things. Just this last year in Maine, they started this little activity here where they made all their towns. The governor of Maine did this initiative, and it's basically an application form to be certified as a business-friendly town. But what's cool about it is it has all these little questions in all these little categories: customer service, customer capacity, economic priorities, business local involvement collaboration, notice for public comment. I mean, here's a little test or a little thing we can do, fill out ourselves and keep track of how we're improving. And, it becomes like an improvement plan. And the other thing is, this is serious, because the same thing is being done in Malaysia. They don't want to get trapped. They want to be able to grow. So there's some tools here where we can keep track of how business friendly we are, and then not just have to kick it around every 2 years when we have an election. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Kristen?
Mark fixed this for me. Business friendliness to me is absolutely having a positive attitude towards the businesses in town when they come to the county, that the things that they need to get done are not stalemated or put off, but there's a positive attitude. I think try to figure out how it is we can help get those things done. I do know that that has been a policy since 2010 to try to, help those kinds of things. And the things that I've seen happen so far, at least, include, we do have a county manager now who has that as a goal and a priority, and he has done some reorganization to help try to accommodate that. It comes into play not just with the businesses, but with the buildings they're in. And I know in trying to talk to some of the businesses around town and asking them, how does it go for you? How does this work? How are things for you here? Many times their issues are building issues. They'll have an issue with the building and they can't get it fixed, or they fix it the way they believe they're supposed to, only to have someone come back and tell them they fixed it wrong. And that's expensive for our businesses in town. That's not business friendly. So as a council, your goal is setting priorities and policies, and it's not getting down in there and telling our county staff how to do their job. But I do think it's important as a council to continue to have that as a priority and to monitor it and to check in with it. Make sure that that is still a policy and a plan that the county employees have, that they're moving forward with trying to make it more business friendly. One of the things I think, there's several things that I think we can talk about, and we will in this meeting, but business friendliness also can be what kind of utilities are here. And I know we're looking into, should we have broadband here? And is the hardware for that something the county should be participating in building? And I know as an agent, when people consider coming to town, and there's lots of people who can move anywhere in the country and they want a lovely place like this, but they're going to look at things like, do we have broadband and how reliable are our utilities before they decide to move here? Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Michael?
I'm going to rely on my planning background to answer this question. Currently, under our zoning code, it is illegal to brew beer and serve it in the same building. So someone who potentially wanted to start a microbrewing business that's illegal. That doesn't sound particularly business-friendly to me, at least not to that type of business. So, you know, brewing beer is an industrial process. It has to be done in an industrial zone. Serving beer and food is something that must be done in a commercial zone. So you can't legally do the two in the same building. You could apply for a variance, but that might take easily 6 months. So, you know, that's a major impediment to that kind of business. There are many other examples of this sort of thing in our development code. And so, you know, that's something I think that we can really look forward, look at how we can potentially update our codes to make our county much more business friendly for a wider array of businesses. And it's a discussion that we need to have. Perhaps the members of this community don't want any microbreweries, and they're happy with the current situation. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I've talked to a lot of people who want that sort of business in town. And so I think we really need to have a discussion about what sort of businesses we want and what can we do at that structural level to make this a much more business-friendly town. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Pete, you want to wrap up this question for us?
Business friendliness means the county and the council is supportive of all legitimate business proposals, that it works to eliminate overly restrictive requirements, and it helps businesses meet the legitimate requirements of the law. It also means the council needs to be watching carefully and constantly engaging our state and federal governments when they're taking actions that may have a big impact on our community. I've been involved in the Planning and Zoning Commission on helping streamline the permitting process, and we have reduced the time necessary to get permits. There's still some room for improvement, though. The recent delay in getting the sign approved at the new Smith's gas station was something that should have been caught by county staff much earlier in the process. In some cases, even though the P&Z Commission is business friendly, we have to turn down promising business proposals because they don't meet the requirements of the laws that the council has passed. In some cases, minor remodeling of a downtown business to meet the needs of growth is not allowed. It becomes a major update to modern code. As long as minor remodeling can be done safely, we don't have to require updates to the latest code. Another effort, two other efforts P&Z has been involved in are a major update of the comprehensive plan, which is very big, hard to read, but developers and businesses have to meet the goals of that plan when they apply for a new project. Another part of that we hope that the council will soon approve is a recommended change to the sign code. It should not be difficult to have a sign out for your business.
Thanks, Pete. That brings us to our next question.
Question 2. What is the concept of public-private partnership, the last few words were in quotes, mean to you? What do you think are good examples of how such a partnership should work and why?